Good morning and welcome to the Lakers Lowdown. I'm Anthony Irwin. Today on the show, the Lakers have won 7 of their last 9. They have managed to stay afloat despite a bevy of injuries to their wings. They maybe appear on the verge of getting at least one of those key wings back. And Max Christie has taken real strides here in his filling in for some of the aforementioned injured wings. So everything seems like things are going pretty good, right? Like there's nothing really to complain about here, right? Right? Wrong. I'm kidding. I'm joking. Things are good. I swear. Things are fine. So over the Thanksgiving break, which I enjoyed, hope everybody did as well. The Lakers split their games, right? They lost to the Dallas Mavericks 104-101, and then beat the Cleveland Cavaliers in Cleveland 121-115. Both games took on kind of similar identities, right? It was kind of close throughout. Lakers threw punches, got hit back, and stuff. And it was close down the stretch of both of those games. And, in the case of the Cavs game, the Lakers got enough stops. In the case of the Mavericks game, the offense kind of stalled out. But for somewhat like similar reasons, and this is where the Lakers' approach to the season helps and hurts, right? Because essentially, what the Lakers are trying to do, almost night in, night out, at least when they have like a decent rotation, uh, they are essentially like trying to rely on D'Angelo Russell. They're trying to rely on Austin Reeves. They're trying to rely on kind of production from everywhere else, and during that time, hope that LeBron can kind of rest while he's playing and then be as fresh as possible for the closing of the game and try to take over games that way. And, in even the Dallas game, right? He scored 15 points as the Lakers roared back from 20 down in the fourth quarter. And, Phil Jackson used to say this all the time, where if you're trying to fight your way back into a game, a lot of times that fight can take up so much of your energy that you can't quite get over the hump. And in the Lakers case, they were able to take a lead, but you could just kind of tell, especially with LeBron, that he didn't quite have the legs to like close out the game, and I think this is going to be something that the Lakers are going to try to work on, and that being the balance, even when LeBron takes over, of, yeah, you are obviously going to rely on him, but you don't want him to throw haymaker after haymaker after haymaker, especially this early in the season. And some of that is obviously unavoidable because the Lakers are missing so many guys, especially at LeBron's position. So, like, some of this is just kind of the way the game is going to go. But those pull up threes that we keep seeing him shoot, shot them against Dallas. In that Dallas game, LeBron took quite possibly one of the dumbest shots of his career. Played brilliantly in the minutes before then. But he took that, he got the switch that he wanted. He got Kyrie Irving out into space. That's a spot that normally he would attack and go right at Kyrie and put him in the basket. Instead, he takes a pull-up three-pointer with 10, 15 seconds to go in the shot clock. And, that's just a brutal mistake. And then the next play, he throws a pass to AD that actually he connected on in the Cavs game. But he throws that pass to AD that gets stolen, in part because apparently Dallas had a player, I think Rashawn Holmes, was in the key for too long. He played illegal defense, right? In the last 2-minute report, the NBA said that Rashawn Holmes should have been called for defensive three in the key there. He winds up intercepting that pass. Dallas goes down. Austin Reeves over rotates, leaves Kyrie Irving wide open. Kyrie hits the shot, and the game is essentially over from there. And that kind of bang, bang, bang of mistakes, right? They wind up costing the Lakers. And I think part of it is that LeBron in that fourth quarter worked too hard and wasn't able to fully, finish the job in the way that he would have liked. Obviously, we would have liked. And then in the Cavs game, I thought we saw a couple of those same shots. And this is something that he does. I think he likes the idea of being kind of the final nail in the other team's coffin in those games, especially in Cleveland, right? But he takes, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with him wanting to close out teams. It's just that doing so from deep when you're as physically imposing as LeBron is feels like letting the other team's defense off the hook. And in that Cavs game, he shoots that sidestep three-pointer made even more difficult because he's sidestepping to his right, which means that when he sidesteps off of his left foot and winds up shooting a three-pointer, as he is shooting that three-pointer, he is squaring his shoulders back up to have to get a clean look on that shot. You look at most shooters, their step back shots always look the purest when they are going to their opposite hand, right? Because when you're dribbling to your opposite hand and you step back off of your strong foot, right? If you're right-handed, your strong foot is your right foot. You step back off of your right foot and your shoulders are already aligned with the basket, right? If I'm I am left-handed, right? So if I'm dribbling to my right and I plant that left foot and I pull back, my shoulders are already ready to go. And yes, the ball is technically closer to the defender when I take that shot than it would be if I was going to my left. But there is so much less motion there that it makes that shot actually quite a bit easier. And the shot that he took against Cleveland was just such a difficult shot. And on that play, no ball movement. He dribbles the ball basically for 18 seconds, shoots it with, 7 seconds or so to go on the shot clock or 5 seconds to go on the shot clock. And fortunately, Max Christie does a great job on Donovan Mitchell. And we'll talk about Max here in a second. But Max does a great job on Donovan Mitchell, forces him into an also difficult mid-range shot that hits back iron. Lakers grab the rebound, and essentially the game is over from there. The point, and I want to be clear, LeBron has been the Lakers' best player this year, night in, night out. So I'm really not complaining in the macro sense. I just think one of the things that the Lakers are going to have to continue to work on is even when LeBron utilizes the energy that he has kind of stored up over the course of a game where the other guys are kind of doing the creation and the finishing around him. In that fourth quarter, the Lakers are still going to have to, I think, stick with some of a somewhat similar game plan for the first few minutes of the fourth, so that by the time LeBron gets to the last couple possessions of the game, he isn't so exhausted that he feels the need to take that shot. And the thing with LeBron, and this is the case with basically any great scorer, and obviously LeBron is statistically the greatest scorer in the NBA has ever seen. But great scorers, essentially, they judge everything by how clean a look that they can get themselves. And for LeBron, when he's guarded by Kyrie and he raises up, he's not going to see Kyrie at all, and he's thinking that's a good shot because he can't see his defender there. No matter how difficult it might be, so long as he is and his shooting elbow is free and he has a decent angle on the basket, he is saying to himself, yeah, that's a fine shot. I did my job. I created the space necessary to give myself a clean look, and I trust myself to be able to knock that shot down. Um, and the problem and kind of the error in that thinking there is, yeah, you technically created the space necessary, but that shot was more difficult than other options that you could have taken, or other plays that you could have made for others. And the last kind of note here is hilariously in like the week or two prior, he snapped back at his, you know, critics who wanted him, instead of passing the ball to Cam Reddish, to force a shot up at the rim. And again, this is, I think, LeBron's brain working in the way that it does, where he sees a defender in front of him, and because he sees that, and because he feels that defender in front of him, his brain, being as like high level as it is, thinks, well, this isn't a good shot. I feel a defender here. I got to get the ball out to the corner there. And it winds up being a good shot, a good open shot for Cam Reddish. One that, by the way, Reddish made only a few games later. And, those critics might be thinking to themselves, when he shoots that shot on the wing, ha, we got to him. He took the shot. And in reality, I think actually what's going on there is, again, he sees his ability to get that shot and create that space for himself where he isn't feeling that defender. And he feels like that is still a good shot, and a better shot than it would have been if he tried to force something at the rim through a congested key. And so, like, you wind up like everybody winds up being kind of wrong there, right? The critics wind up being wrong because, yeah, objectively speaking, kicking the ball out to a shooter in the corner is probably better than trying to go up over two, especially in the case of Miami, good defenders. And the critics wind up being wrong, or LeBron winds up being wrong when he shoots shots like he does against Dallas and Cleveland, because, well, he could find himself a better look, even if it is slightly more contested than the one he took in those two games. And I'm really curious if we reach a point this year, because this has been a trend now basically for the entirety of LeBron's time as a Laker, where, for him, he sees that like final haymaker, or that final dagger that he can stick into the opposing team's heart. He thinks that the best version of that shot winds up being that three for whatever weird reason. And the more that he misses it, I think the more that his kind of high level processor brain is going to realize, I could probably get a better shot than this, or I could try to get to the free throw line, or I could try to create something for somebody else. All of those options are better than the stand still, nobody moves on offense, hold the ball for 18 seconds, step to the strong side three-pointer that he tried to take against the Cavs, that fortunately he got bailed out on because Max played that good defense against Donovan Mitchell. And we are able to look at the weekend as a split. And yeah, we'll kind of, we'll see, and we can kind of hope that he moves on from that approach. All that said, I think the story of the weekend winds up kind of sort of being Max Christie, because the Lakers really need a perimeter defender for like the Donovan Mitchells, the Steph Currys, the um all of those kind of small shifty guards. De'Aaron Fox also has given the Lakers problems this year. He's given everybody problems, but especially the Lakers. The Lakers could really use a defender, or another defender, or a defender who is more likely to stay on the court than, say, Jared Vanderbilt, or even than, say, Cam Reddish. It's nice to be that Darvin Ham can kind of go to any of those three, or some combination of those three guys, when the Lakers really need stops down down stretches of games, kind of like running the football when your team is ahead. Ravens, just a heads up, you're allowed to do that. But I do think that Max Christie showing what he showed when he, in one game he's asked to guard Kyrie Irving, I thought did that quite well. The next game he has to go up against Donovan Mitchell, and again, I thought acquitted himself quite well. And that's the kind of thing that Darvin Ham is going to notice, and it's the exact kind of thing that has gotten Cam Reddish more minutes. It's the exact kind of thing, by the way, that might cost Taurean Prince some minutes. It's the exact reason why Jared Vanderbilt, whenever he comes back, is almost essentially promised a role in the rotation, is because those three guys offer perimeter defense that Austin, D'Lo, basically Austin and D'Lo, and maybe if we ever see Gabe Vincent, like those guys when they are on the court, and especially the first two, in Reeves and D'Angelo Russell, those guys need perimeter defensive presences to kind of make up for what those guys take off of the table on that end of the court. And I don't foresee a situation where like, Max and Vanderbilt and Reddish are on the court all at the same time. But I could 100% see situations where two of those three guys are out there, right? It's D'Lo, it's Max, and it's Vando. It's D'Lo, it's Reddish, and it's Vando. It's D'Lo and it's Max, and it's Reeves and Max and Cam, or Vando and Cam, because what the Lakers can't afford to have is so much leakage on the perimeter that puts AD in situations where you always have to be worried about foul trouble. You have to worry about the precarious positions that he puts his body in to contest at the rim against small guys who are getting like straight line drives to the basket. It forces, tougher passes out of pick and rolls when you have better defenders who are better at applying back pressure after they get screened. You watch Torian Prince get screened, and like you almost start playing taps when he gets screened, right? It's just like that guy he just can't move right now. And now all of a sudden the Lakers are playing 4-on-5 defense, and God knows when Torian Prince might be able to get back into the picture. So yeah, I think that game from Max Christie, given how deep the Lakers are at wing, was so huge because it gives, like, now the Lakers have some data that, yeah, what they saw last year from him defensively appears to be at least somewhat real. And then now you watch him be able to repeat or improve on some of those things. Obviously, you would like to see him uh, continue the trend. I thought he shot pretty damn well against Cleveland. Obviously, significantly better than he has shot to this point in the season so far, uh, with that being a low bar and all. But yeah, if Torian Prince really has to be kind of careful here, and I don't necessarily know that he can adjust in the ways that I think Darvin Ham would like him to adjust. He isn't really rebounding. He is somewhat still pretty soft defensively. I just talked about his inability to deal with screens and stuff like that. Um, it, with Max showing this, and with Prince struggling to shoot in the way that he has, Darvin, I think, and the coaching staff at some point are just going to say, well, we're going to go with the guys who give us something, because far too often now when Prince isn't knocking down shots, and he basically hasn't knocked down shots all season, he isn't giving you anything. And I think the Lakers are probably going to start erring on the side of, well, we got to get somebody in there who gives us something. Looking ahead here to the week ahead, the Lakers are again in action tonight. By the time you guys are listening to this, the Lakers play in Philadelphia against a good Philly team. Hopefully, the Lakers are able to get at least one of their wing defenders back, especially Cam, or Max is going to continue to get tested because Tyrese Maxey has played incredible basketball to start the season. And it's interesting watching or getting ready to watch the Lakers play against Philly. Both teams tried the 3-star method, were bitten in the ass by the 3-star method, adjusted from the 3-star method to a 2-star in depth, method of building the roster. And both are significantly better off as a result of that, right? Like, if I would have told you last year that the Lakers would, heading into the season, that the Lakers would lose like two starting caliber players, another, legit wing type player, and they would still be sitting at 10-7, 17 games into the season. You would say like it was impossible, right? With Russell Westbrook on the team and with so much cap devoted to those three guys and him, LeBron and AD, it was just impossible to build out a roster that had any margin for error whatsoever. In this case, though, the Lakers do have some margin for error here and have taken advantage of that margin for error to the tune of a very solid 10-7 run. They have now a couple wins, like legit wins under their belt. They have been competitive in just about every game that they played even decently in. And as they start to get guys back hopefully soon, really appear poised to make a bit of a run here as the schedule lightens up a little bit, and again, as the Lakers start to get a little healthier. But this is going to be an interesting game, and I just cannot help but notice the backdrop of this game being something that the NBA, I would imagine, has taken note of here and will take note of moving forward. Where you look at, like I said, the Lakers and Philly and where they currently stand, and yeah, it's a couple teams that are going to continue to build through depth and have done so successfully, right? The Lakers sit at 10-7. I think Philly sits at 9-6. And you look at the standings here in the Lakers' own division, and some of those more star-heavy teams, the Clippers come to mind, the even the Warriors kind of come to mind. Those teams are kind of struggling, where the teams that have some decent depth, the Suns are been able to withstand their injuries because Devin Booker winds up being just that good, and Kevin Durant winds up being just that good, and Eric Gordon is not a veteran minimum player typically, and he has played really well for them. But the Warriors have really struggled this year. They're 8-9. The Clippers are 7-8, and that like star heavy roster construction, I do kind of think really takes away margin for error. And in the Warriors case, you have Klay Thompson looking a little washed, right? You have Draymond Green getting suspended, and that hasn't looked great. Steph has missed some time, and that's always going to screw with them. But especially when they don't have the depth to make things work while he's gone. And then the Clippers have been basically a mess, either while they waited to make the James Harden trade or after they made the James Harden trade. They've gotten a little bit better since, but they're still 4-6 in their last 10, and they've only won like their most recent game. They aren't on some winning streak that would indicate that they figured anything out. So yeah, I do really like, and I'm partial to this because it's always been, I think, the type of roster that I have found most appealing, and I guess the type of roster I am the most confident in. The Lakers having LeBron and AD and a whole bunch of like pretty good to good role players around them is a sustainable model. And I think here with Philly, same kind of thing. Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey appears to be a star, or a budding star. Those two guys, a bunch of depth around them, seems to be a significantly more sustainable model than in prior iterations, and most specifically the James Harden fiasco. So that'll be a fun game. I will be on playback tonight with the guys. Make an account over at playback.tv/all access Lakers. And then right after the game, I will be live in the lounge, which that will you can subscribe to watch that show or those shows live at youtube.com/at Lakers Lounge is where you would find this. Hopefully you're already subscribed, and we can continue to build this thing out. Might have some news here on the show front that I look forward to be able to sharing with you as well. So keep an ear out for that. And until the next time you guys hear from me, I'm Anthony Irwin saying have a great rest of your day. Make somebody else's, and I will talk to you, in a few hours for the game time. For the game. For the game time. I don't know why I sounded like Borat. Talk to you soon.